here. All right, so we are going to make the Hydrangea Haven 4-fold card. Kind of like a stair step. It has 4 panels on the inside and folds up like that. It's really beautiful with the hydrangea paper. So to start, you need a piece of cardstock that's 12 by 12, or at least 12 inches long. And I got a piece that's 5.5 by 12. So this top to bottom is 5.5. And I scored it at 1 inch, at 4 3/8 inches, and at 7 3/4. And then in order to kind of have that stair step effect, this part, this largest panel over here, has to stay full height. But for the second, or I would say the first, second, and third panels before you get to the largest one, I also scored those going this way, giving at about just 3/8 of an inch. So if you look at the paper this way, this is a 3/8 inch strip that I'm going to cut off so that I can have my stair step effect. So I'm going to use my precision scissors to make this tiny cut here, and then I'll use a paper trimmer to do the other one. So I scored it just so I know where I'm cutting and can line it up. But I'll stop shy of that last panel. And I'll just kind of have to cut that last little bit. Okay. So I'm going to fold these just so I kind of know how it's working. All right, and you see I have this strip here, and I'm only at 3 panels plus my strip. So I need to add my other piece of white cardstock. That's going to become the first panel. And I'm going to glue this on here, okay, like this. And then I'm going to have another little piece that I need to trim off. This is going to be hidden, if you can see on the example. I did glue that on here as well, but it gets hidden with that piece of designer paper. All right, so I'm going to glue this side of that tab. I'm going to place it on my extra sheet of cardstock, lining it up like so. Now I need to cut off that little tab that's extra. That's small enough, I'll just do it with my scissors, not with a paper trimmer. All right, so now I have my 4 panels ready to go. So I've pre-cut all of my designer paper, and I'm just going to start attaching that. I didn't worry about it, you know, all lining up left to right. I think it's beautiful enough. I don't think people are going to be looking for it all to match. But I do use almost a whole sheet of 12 by 12 paper because I needed 5 different portions of the designer paper to cover each of my 5 panels that will show. Okay, so
yeah, it's beautiful paper. Yeah, gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
The sizes for the designer paper are a normal size like we'd have on the card front, 5 1/4 by 4. And then I have one that's 4 3/4 by 3. That's what I'm attaching right now. And another one that exact same size to go on this next panel. I just love these blues and purples. Oh my goodness. And I love hydrangeas too, so perfect.
And that paper is retiring, right, Kelly?
It is,
yeah.
yeah. Let's see, I have a little strip. I'm gonna kind of correct here. All right. And then you'll need 2 pieces of designer paper that are 4 1/8 by 2 5/8. I'm gonna want that one on the front. I'll put this one here. So that takes care of our seam there. We don't want that to show. And then as you close this up, that last piece is going to go on the very front. So it looks more complicated than it is once you get your panels, and then you're able to add this first panel on. Makes it look really nice. Okay. So then in our sample, I have a number of things. I think I'm going to start decorating the inside first, since there are so many pieces and parts. And the front one has pop dots and embellishments, so I think I'll wait till last to do that. I just used different label punches and die cuts to do these, and so I have stamped one of the little hydrangea bunches from the stamp set, which I don't think I showed at the beginning. It comes with these that you can stamp, and then these little bunches of leaves and hydrangeas and things like that, as well as some really nice messages. And kind of a watercolor background too that you could put behind in a very light color behind your messages. But I used one of the little bunches and I did it on this label. And so to make a backer for that, I'm going to cut my second label in half. And I'm just doing it freehand because it's not really going to show, except for at the very edge. I put quite a bit of adhesive on my label that will be in the front. And then I just let this kind of be a little border on each side. Since my labels are the same size, that's my workaround to just show a little bit of it. Okay, so I'm going to glue that here on this first inside panel. All right, then I have my very pretty acetate piece that I used a scallop die to cut out. Much like the acetate Carol used, this one also has that clear backing on it that you need to peel off before you attach it to any card or to anything that you're doing. It just then helps you to glue this on better. If it has the backing, it doesn't want to take any of the glue. Okay, so I'm going to put that in here. Then look how these, how it cuts out these hydrangeas. If you want to, you can kind of manipulate the die cut a little bit so that the leaf or the petals stick up from the hydrangea itself. And then this is the backing for it. So you can place one over the other. I'm actually going to put my glue on here and then put this on top of it. Okay. And that's going to go on the acetate here. But before I glue that down, I want to get some leaves that can go around the outside. Now the die cut is essentially the whole flower. So I die cut the whole flower and this branch in green, but I cut off the green flower. I don't need that. And then there's a detail leaf piece that I would like to glue on here. And I would normally probably use liquid glue to do that, but for the purposes of our video, I'm going to use just a little bit of the Tombow adhesive, letting the excess go on my fingers. All right. And I'm going to put the detail leaf on here. And then I'm actually going to cut my leaves off the branch. I don't really need the branch for this. And I don't really mind if they have a little bit of branch stuck to them because they're going to get tucked behind my hydrangea. And I'm just going to, since I put a bunch of adhesive on the back of the flower, I'm just going to tuck my leaves with their detail back behind here before I glue it down. And I'll do one maybe off to the other side. Okay, add a little more adhesive to the back. And then that's going to go on my panel with the acetate die cut. Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful.
All right. So then continuing, look at all the pieces and parts.
I know. It's a lot of pieces. It's beautiful.
Sending you smiles for every moment of your special day. And then I've got a happy birthday label for this side. And then I think this one is so striking with that gorgeous grape purple. They do have kind of a specific direction of them, so I want to match those up. Now in this one, I want to keep my branch intact. So again, normally I'd probably use a little Tombow liquid glue, but this time I'll use some of this. That adds so much to that leaf to have the veins and the detail of them. And then I'm going to put a generous amount of glue or tape on the back of my purple flower. Kind of set it lightly over the green branch. Add more green or more glue to the branches and leaves. All right. Then attach the whole thing inside my card, making sure that I do not cover up my message. I was a little close on my sample, so I tried to have it stamped over a little bit farther on this one. All right, then I just have the front to do. And for that, I used our scalloped oval punch that does both the plain oval and the scalloped one. I'm going to adhere my message to the scallop. I'm going to use pop dots to put this on the card front. And then the hydrangea die cut set does come with this row of little petals as well. So it cuts 9, I think, at a time. And I used a couple of them and glued them together to form these little accents that are going to go on the side of my label. You know what? I think I'll do a glue dot, if I can find the glue dots again, because it'll just make it easier to get that where I want it. Isn't that fun?
It's beautiful. Now this card is for someone very, very, very
special. Yes, they have to be special. You guys talk about who deserves the cards. They have to make the cut.
That's very beautiful.
All right, and then we have
my favorite oval punch.
Oh, good. We have these pastel pearls, so I'm going to use a couple of the light purple ones to accent my hydrangea petals. And finally, we have a bow made of this really pretty gorgeous grape ribbon. And I'll use a glue dot to attach that. And there we have it. Such a fun card. It'd be beautiful for someone to receive that.
Oh, gorgeous.
With all the panels.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe your mother would like that.
You might.
Very nice.